Good morning, lovely humans. I hope you have all had a great week and are ready to enter into the weekend with some peace and hope. Today, we are talking about a community that is rallying around maternal health care in Ohio, a quote about optimism, and a little reflection about protecting your peace. Let's get started. So today we're talking about some nurses in Ohio that are fighting for maternal health care and how they are rallying the community around them, which I find very inspiring. I do want to apologize. I do have a bit of a headache, so bear with me. And I am being very stubborn about it and refusing to take medicine because I keep thinking it's going to get better the more water you drink. You know, they always tell you to drink water. It never helps. So yeah, bear with me. So last month, Ohio Health Grady Memorial Hospital announced that it would be discontinuing its inpatient maternal services or maternal inpatient maternity services July 31st. So that's today. And without the unit, some women would have to travel anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour to deliver their babies. Of course, they'll still have their emergency room service, but they won't have specific maternal health care services. I'm not a healthcare professional, but because they're getting rid of their inpatient maternity services, some of those services would be unavailable at that hospital. And after that announcement, a group of nurses started leading a charge to try to save these services at this hospital because they feel like it is a necessary pillar of their community. They need those services there to care for these women because if not, people could potentially give birth on the side of the road or not be able to get to a hospital in time. So they started rallying. Some of them submitted testimony to the city council there. Some of them stood beside politicians running for office to protest the closure of these medical services. And they have also requested the state's attorney general to investigate the hospital for violating a 2005 agreement. So they are working hard to do whatever they can to keep these services available. And I want to talk a little bit about why this is happening. The healthcare system did not give a legitimate reason for closing these services. Whenever stuff like this happens, whenever these major companies, nonprofits, what have you, whenever they announce that they are doing something that they know is going to be unpopular, they usually say something like, oh, we did a market analysis and that is why we are doing this, without actually clarifying what that market analysis said or actually showing any type of figures on like what's causing these problems. That might not be their fault. They could be trying to like prevent further outrage from the people causing these types of issues, or they could just be protecting their brand. There's a million reasons why companies will don't want to say hide, but like couch how they're talking about something that they know is going to be unpopular in the community. Anytime maternity wards get closed, hospitals close, healthcare services get reduced, that is usually an unpopular thing in a community because people use those services. And so usually that's how companies respond. And yeah, that's what they said. They said that the decision was made after careful evaluation by experts of the inpatient maternity program and a decrease in volume in care. So they were seeing less people come to their hospital for that type of care. Not none, but less. And they recommend that patients seek care at other hospitals like Ohio Health Dublin Methodist Hospital and Ohio Health Riverside Methodist Hospital instead. So that doesn't really tell us why this is happening, but we do know that the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, H.R. 1, was passed last summer, and it did include a nearly $1 trillion cut in Medicaid, which covers more than 40% of births nationwide. That's a lot of births. And if hospitals are not receiving that money, that's an easy connection to make. Since the bill passed, hospitals across the nation have had to reduce services. We've seen that a lot here in Georgia, and a lot of people have been upset about it because maternity wards have had to be closed. Different types of services have to be closed because they're not receiving that funding anymore. Medicaid will not cover those services, so people can't get those services, right? And analyses from advocacy programs predicted that anywhere from 300 to more than 800 hospitals would be at a heightened risk for closing or cutting services if the bill passed, which it did. And it has been particularly difficult for people or for hospitals in rural areas because those areas heavily depend on Medicaid because a lot of people in those areas use Medicaid. So they've had a hard go at it of late. However, I will say I did want to put this in a little bit of a broader context. Hospitals, especially in rural areas, have been having struggles for a long time. And that since 2010, 151 rural hospitals have closed, and that's according to the National Rural Health Association. So it's not like, oh, it's all because of this One Big Beautiful Bill Act, and now all of our hospitals are closing. Hospitals have been closing for a while. That is also something we've been seeing here in Georgia. I'm from a rural area, and it at least is going to take you 30 minutes to get to a hospital, if not more than that. So that is just something that we are struggling with. One thing that did encourage me about this story, and I want to say the story is from the 19th. I'll have a link in the description. But the nurses in Ohio are continuing to pull on every lever that they can to address this issue, and they are rallying the community around this issue, which I find encouraging. And they are reaching across the aisle to both Democrats and Republicans to garner support for their cause and trying to make a difference. And that gives me hope. They're really trying not to be like, this is one party's fault over another. And I know a lot of people out there want to place blame on one particular person, but a lot of people. And it's easy to point fingers and not figure out solutions. And these nurses give me hope because they're looking for solutions, and we need more of that. So yeah, I hope this article is encouraging. Of course, they're going to keep fighting for their cause, and hopefully they'll be able to find a pathway to get healthcare services for pregnant women of the area, pregnant people of the area. So yeah. And now we're going to move on to some optimism. I found a quote today about optimism that spoke to me. It was from Helen Keller, who is obviously an inspiring figure. And it says, optimism is the fate that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. And in a world that's filled with gray, it is really easy to get pessimistic. I know, scrolling on social media, reading the news even, it is really easy to just look at the bad and not celebrate the good. And everything can feel overwhelming and harsh and cold. But all that does is, if focusing on that really just makes us sink further into this pessimism and like prevents us from looking at the brighter side. So I want to encourage you to try to find the hope, even in the sadness. Like the story today is a pretty sad story. A maternity services are getting reduced at this hospital in this area that desperately needs it. And that's sad. But there is a group out there trying to do what they can for their community. And I think if we all do our part for our community, the world will be a better place. So stay optimistic, keep fighting. And when you don't have the energy, like tap in a battle buddy, tap in someone to help you out and keep going for you, because we all need a rest every now and again. And I'm not shaming anybody for that, but we also all need to keep going. So there's your optimism for today. The next bit I want to talk about is protecting your peace. My husband gave me some advice this week, and he just said, do whatever protects your peace. And I've been thinking about that a lot. What does that mean? Is that even possible with managing everybody else's feelings? And how do you actually do that in practice? And I came up with a few things, and I don't know if they're helpful, but I hope they are. So protecting your peace is not about avoiding conversations or difficult situations. It's about deciding what deserves your energy, what fills your cup. And for this, I came up with a couple of reminders for myself, and I hope they help you too. One is stop fighting every battle. Not every battle is worth fighting. Every battle has a cost, right? Like every argument, every discussion, every interaction has some type of a cost. And if that cost is worth it, go for it. But if it's not, take a step back. It's okay. And that's more for me than anybody else. But yeah, that's one of the reminders. Another one is saying no without guilt. Ooh, that's a tough one. I feel like anytime we say no, we always feel so guilty. But say no without guilt. It's okay. Don't feel the need to explain every decision. I feel like this all the time. I feel like if I have a decision, I have to explain why I'm doing this decision. It's like I have to get approval from the other person before I can make the decision, which is unnecessary. Like I just need to make the decision. And if I've made the decision is made. And I should not have to like explain why I've made the decision. So don't feel like you have to explain every decision. I do feel like it is important to explain why you've made decisions in certain circumstances. I don't want to be like, this is it. Never explain yourself. But like, just don't feel the need to every time. If a person you love is asking for an explanation, of course, give it. But don't feel like you have to give it without even being asked for it, right? And then step away from the unnecessary drama. Just step away. Just let it go. And I'm sure you'll be more at peace. Sorry, I was looking to see if my dog was behind me. I can hear her tapping. I also came up with some things that I feel like actively protect my peace. And one is celebrating progress instead of striving to perfection. Oh, I do hear her tapping. She's tapping somewhere. She's behind me. I don't know if you can see her, but she's ready to go outside. But celebrate progress instead of striving for perfection. And I say this in my kitchen a lot, like we're not looking for perfection. We are looking for good enough. And that is just something that does help me protect my peace, is that we're just trying our best, and that's all you can do. So try that. I like meditating. I need to do it more. It's something that definitely brings me peace. It helps calm me down, helps me just view like what's happening instead of like reacting to it all the time. And I think that's a really important practice. But for others, that might look like writing in a journal or praying or what have you. So whatever helps you be able to view what's happening without actually reacting to it. And then the third is to take a silent walk or fold some laundry in silence. Just sit quietly for a minute, and with not necessarily meditating, but just with your thoughts and very relaxed. I feel like whenever I get to just take a walk and breathe and not have my phone or not be listening to something, because I listen to a ton of podcasts and sometimes that noise just gets overwhelming. So taking a moment to be in silence is nice. However, on the flip side, I do think music is a very good way to also just feel a little bit better. So either one of those, but yeah, silence is good sometimes. We all need to be able to sit in silence and not panic. All right, so other things I wanted to remind y'all is that protecting your peace looks different at different times depending on how you're feeling. It can sometimes mean taking a rest. It can sometimes mean creating space. It can sometimes require forgiveness. So I have a couple of questions that I think can help you think about what brings you peace and how you can protect it. So my thing about protecting your peace is all about like honoring what gives you energy and managing what takes it away. So this week or this weekend, think about what gives you energy, what makes you excited, what makes you happy, what makes you feel good, what do you enjoy doing? And on the flip side, also consider what is draining you, what makes you feel exhausted, what are you obsessing over, and not in a good way, and what makes you want to give up. So seriously think about those things and maybe consider cutting some of those things out if it takes too much of your energy, or adding more of some of the good stuff. And I'm not saying that you can just get rid of all the things that drain you. We're all adults. We all know that adulting, sometimes we have to do things we don't like to do. But I do think we can focus on the good and manage the bad. So yeah, I think that's all for us today. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Sorry, I'm a little sleepy, a little tired because my brain hurts. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please see, my brain's not working. Like, share, and subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram for some behind the scenes action. And I'm on Substack if you'd like to support this work, you want to hear more. Definitely subscribe to my Substack. I also give more thoughts about my recipes and give some more get the news. You could get the newsletters that way too. Jesus, I can't talk. You can get the newsletters that way too, and that's good. And yeah, you just get a little bit of extra content about what's happening behind the scenes. So if you like that, please do that. And as you enter into your weekend, please remember that you are alive, you are whole, and you are here. Thanks for watching. See you next time.